He shot bam, 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 and like he didn't stop until his clip was empty.
At this point, there was a shooting incident. That's the detail we're getting.
Massacre at Virginia Tech, the deadliest shooting in U.S. history.
The gunman killed 32 people, 15 others were wounded before he turned the gun on himself.
We threw a table up against the door, and sure enough, 2 seconds after we threw that table against the door, he was at our handle trying to get in, pushing against the door. Then he started firing.
You heard the clip hit the ground right outside our door. He reloaded and started again.
2 gunmen wearing black trench coats and masks opened fire at Columbine High School in this suburban Denver community.
They started blowing up and shooting everyone in the cafeteria, and then you could hear them laughing and running upstairs.
Then 17-year-old Jamie Rouse walked into his Linville, Tennessee high school looking for revenge.
I guess I blamed school for my problems. That's where I had my most misery. And I was just so filled with hate and anger and this evil.
Unbelievable event that has happened today, the worst shooting in the history of this country.
Campus security professionals try to find common threads.
It's just utter shock how anybody could do this to anybody else.
We're learning how it happened. But will we ever know why?
Hello, I'm Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott. Whenever there's a school shooting, it's not uncommon for us to ask why. While we may never know the answer to that question, we owe it to our children to do all we can to be prepared for such a situation. Unfortunately, the tragedies at Virginia Tech and Columbine High School are still fresh in our memories. Although we hope it doesn't happen here in Texas, we must be vigilant, we must be ready. That's why it's critical that schools, law enforcement, and emergency responders work closely together, coordinating our efforts to respond to a school shooting quickly and effectively. And it's important that the coordinated effort happens now, before an incident occurs. To assist in the planning, the Texas Attorney General's Office, in conjunction with the Texas School Safety Center, is recommending that every school prepare what's called an Incident Command Kit. The kit is designed to help school personnel and local law enforcement officials be prepared for an emergency. Please watch and study the content of this video carefully. It begins with a dramatization of a school emergency situation. After the dramatization, the video goes back and examines the incident step by step. We never want to think about such a horrifying event, but we owe it to our children and our communities to be prepared for it. This video will reinforce the importance of having the necessary information on hand before trouble occurs. The information is also found in more detail on the CD-ROM that was included with this DVD. On that CD-ROM, you'll find materials that are critical to the safety of all Texas children. I pray that our schools will never have to deal with a situation like this. But if we do, here's what you need to know to be prepared.
The most common units of measurements are centimeters or millimeters for length, grams or milligrams for mass, liters or milliliters for volume. Now, Cora, would you read number 3 about reading the scale?
Read the scale to the nearest subdivision. When an object is measured with a meter stick subdivided only into centimeters, it is difficult to express the length of the nearest millimeter. It is often possible to estimate points between the subdivisions of the scale, but estimates to more than one decimal place are not significant.
Stay quiet while I call the office. Yes. Karen, this is Judy in 318. I need to speak to Mr. Miller now.
Yes, Ms. Howell.
Mr. Miller, I just saw a young man with a gun walking toward the school. Sit down! Now! Be calm.
Is he a student? Where is he?
He could be. I don't see... There he is. I don't recognize him. Right now, he's walking through the parking lot.
Call 911. Get Officer Jones.
Officer Jones, report to the office immediately.
Yes, there's an emergency situation here at East Warner High School.
Okay. Stay calm. I'm on my way, Mr. Lock your door and get your kids away from the windows.
Yes, we're
Look
on
into the
State
hall.
Road
If you see any
22.
students, get them into your room.
Calling from the principal's office in the north building.
Did you get Officer Jones?
All
He's on his
necessary
way.
protocol. He's right here. Yes, just a second.
This is Principal Paul Miller at East Warner High School. A teacher has just reported seeing a young man with a gun on our campus. We don't know who he is or what he wants. He might be a student. He was seen walking toward the east wing of our building. We're going into lockdown. The school resource officer is on his way to my office, but we need more help right away.
There's a class meeting in the cafeteria. I'm going to make sure they get into the kitchen.
It's 911.
This is Officer Jones, the school resource officer. Yes, as you approach the north building...
Attention, all staff. We're going into lockdown. All staff and students should move to a classroom at this time. Wait for further instructions. Thank you.
Guys, I need you to get in here now, please. Let's go, come on. Get in here now, let's go. Hurry, hurry. All right, listen to me. Everything is going to be fine. I want everyone to get away from the hallway door and get down. Julie, I want you to turn off the lights.
Everyone, quiet now, please. Get down. There is an incident happening in our school right now. Help is on the way, and we are following our plan for handling these things. But right now, what we really need you to do is to stay calm, to keep quiet, and stay down.
Just past my door, heading left.
Oh, thank goodness. The teacher in room 328 just called. He heard the shooter going by his room, headed in that direction.
That's over here.
Can someone shut down that fire alarm? Keep an eye down the hall. He may have moved. Good. There are 4 of us. We can move out in full contact formation. Does everyone have their vests? This guy is serious. He's here to hurt people. We have to figure out a way to take him down or at least draw his fire away from the kids. You and the trooper, take the wings. Remember to stay a couple of feet away from the wall. That'll keep you away from any ricochets. You, take the rear guard and handle our communications.
Take the radio. Let us know when more backup arrives.
The dispatcher said that EMS will be here any minute.
Good. Let's move.
Lock the door. Sergeant Wazinski will be here shortly.
Got an intersection. Breaking right. Intersection, braking left.
Somebody said there was a teacher in the boys' restroom down the hall on the left, Mr. Sanders, and he's been shot. And the guy with the gun went down to the hallway on the left.
You got that? All right, girls, I want you to put your hands on top of your head and go out the door at the end of this hallway. Do it now. Run.
Go, go!
We're sending 2 female students out your way. We also have a report of a wounded teacher in the bathroom at the end of the main hallway.
We also passed a classroom with no card, room 311. It needs to be checked out.
We copy that. This is Sergeant Wasinski. I'm the on-scene commander. We've got a rescue team ready to go. They'll check the restroom and room 311. Rescue team leader. We've evacuated the teacher from the bathroom. We're in room 311 now, and it's a vacant room. Let's go. Standby, a rescue team is on its way. Bring your team in. Let's do a thorough check before we start evacuating these kids.
I'm Curtis Clay of the Texas School Safety Center. What you have just seen is a dramatization of something we hope will never happen here in Texas. But if it does, educators, law enforcement, and emergency responders must be ready, and we must work together. Let's go back now and take a look at what these school administrators and law enforcement did beforehand and on the day of the incident to try to minimize the loss of life in this lockdown situation.
In some classrooms, teachers don't have a way to contact the office through an intercom system or a telephone installed in the classroom. If that's the case, school administrators should develop a plan and determine how teachers will get in touch with the office in the event of an emergency. Whether you are communicating with the office or with law enforcement directly, make sure you choose your words carefully. Be specific about what you have seen. Don't speculate or exaggerate. Remember, every second counts. Using plain language, notify all school personnel and students that the campus is under a lockdown. It is critical that school administrators communicate with teachers without causing a panic among students. Regular drills on lockdown procedures will help both students and staff respond calmly and quickly. When a lockdown situation is announced, teachers should set an example by speaking to students clearly with a sense of calm. Substitute teachers and support staff, including custodial and cafeteria workers, should also be informed about the lockdown procedures and other response tactics. Office personnel should make sure that students who are not in classrooms are directed to the nearest available room. Students who are outside the building should not return, but should be sent to a predetermined rally area or safe evacuation area near the school. The Incident Command Kit, located in a secure but accessible place, is the heart of each school's preparation. In the event of a school crisis, this well-prepared kit can make a world of difference and can save lives. This kit should contain floor plans which should identify such locations of the fire alarm turnoff and utility shutoff, sprinkler shutoff, cable television shutoff. Maps, which should help responders identify the traffic patterns and intersections that will be affected during an emergency incident. An evacuation plan, which clearly identifies exit points and safe rally points located away from the school. Master keys with codes to the school, a faculty and staff roster, and a contact list, which would include emergency phone numbers, school administrator phone numbers, volunteer and parent organization numbers, and media contact numbers. A complete list of the items to be included in the Incident Command Kit can be found on the accompanying CD-ROM included with this DVD. A card system should be used to indicate the status of each classroom to law enforcement officials and emergency responders. The card should have the room numbers on them in large, legible print and should be easily accessible. If emergency assistance is needed in the classroom as soon as possible, teachers should use the red card. If everything is safe in the classroom, teachers should use the green cards. If no cards are posted, responders will assume that teachers may not be in control of the classroom or that the classroom is empty. The card should be positioned in two places. One should be slipped under the classroom door into the hallway or taped in the window of the door. The other should be taped in the exterior classroom window, if there is one. By this point in an incident, when law enforcement officials are on the scene, the duties of school personnel shift to being in charge of the facility to assisting those in law enforcement. The first inclination of school officials who are used to having primary responsibility of the safety of their students and staff may be to try to take control of the response of an incident. But in fact, school administrators must recognize the need to transfer command to law enforcement officials and do so without hesitation. Also, school administrators should use the Incident Command System, which helps determine the roles and function each person must perform in the event of an incident. For example, if the principal should happen to be absent when the incident occurs, the school's second in command, such as the assistant principal, should step into that leadership role. School officials should be familiar with the Incident Command System. To summarize, the priorities of the law enforcement response to an active shooter on campus are: a contact team should locate and stop the shooter. A rescue team should rescue the injured. Backup officers should control a perimeter. Officers should search for other unknown hazards. When it is safe, law enforcement officials should completely evacuate the facility. And when evacuation is complete, officers should process the crime scene. The priorities for administrators in a critical incident are: notify teachers and staff that a lockdown has been issued. Notify authorities of the critical incident by calling 911. Take control of the bell system in your school. Override the automatic controls and switch the controls to manual. From its secure location, retrieve your incident command kit. Meet with law enforcement officers when they arrive and provide them with access to materials from the kit. Also, as part of the process, notify your local school superintendent of the incident that is taking place. The priorities for teachers and staff in an emergency response are: bring students who are nearby into your classroom. Lock or otherwise secure your doors. Have your students sit on the floor against a wall where they are not visible from the window or your classroom door. If possible, keep them away from exterior windows too. Turn off the lights in your classroom. And remember, use the system of red and green cards to alert law enforcement officials about the status of your classroom. Law enforcement officers who are the first to arrive on the scene must make a crucial decision. If they determine they are dealing with an active shooter, one that is firing his weapon indiscriminately, they must engage the suspect immediately. A contact team of 2 to 4 officers should assemble and move out to locate and subdue the shooter. This technique is called rapid deployment.
In the dramatization you watched, lives were saved because plans were made ahead of time by school officials who had collected important information in one easy-to-access place. Also important, law enforcement officers recognized they were dealing with an active shooter and engaged him instead of waiting for backup. We've learned many lessons from school shootings like Columbine and other tragic events. The most comprehensive study to date by the United States Secret Service found some compelling and common threads of these school shooters. Most attackers are loners with some type of grievance or score to settle. Many school shooters felt bullied or persecuted by others, and more than half had revenge as a motive. In Columbine, the school attackers had a threatening website a year in advance of the attack. Also important to note, in most school shootings, at least 3 adults witnessed suspicious behavior by students but did nothing about it.
We really have to talk about prevention here because that's what this thing is all about, is trying to keep incidents like this from occurring.
It is critical that students, teachers, and adults speak out and report suspicious behavior before it is too late. This video and the accompanying CD-ROM of manuals and school safety audit materials represents the best practices for dealing with a critical incident of this kind. Of course, every crisis situation is unique, and educators, law enforcement officers, and other emergency responders have to use their best judgment in each case to determine what the appropriate course of action should be. Officers, remember that training is the best way to prepare you to make those decisions. Rapid deployment training is available for law enforcement officers through the Advanced Law Enforcement Rapid Response Training Program at Texas State University. We strongly urge you to follow these steps and be prepared to handle any crisis. Part of that preparation is conducting regular emergency drills. Practice is critical to executing the right plan, the right way in a time of crisis. The very lives of our children depend upon our vigilance and preparedness. If we all do our part and work together, we can prevent the loss of life that may otherwise take place. Thank you for all you do to protect the future of this great state.